Welcome to Politics Done Right on KPFT. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Give me a call at 713-526-5738. That is 713-526-KPFT. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. But first of all, no, it's not Thursday. Nabu, ¿qué está pasando? Why is it not Thursday?
It's not Thursday, but I'm here.
You're here.
I'm here.
Why did you guys do this to me? I'm lost.
I mean, you know, there's change. A change was gonna come, and now it has come.
You know that song?
I do know that song.
Change gonna come.
Yeah.
Can you sing it?
I'm totally. I play instruments.
You play instruments.
That's why
you don't do the singing part.
Yeah, I do that part.
Hey, but folks, if you're new to this, you've never heard Politics Done Right, I guarantee you a good show. And today's a special show because today we're taking risks in getting folks informed with some interesting stuff. So I think you're going to love the show for today. For all the people that are coming from Thursdays, welcome to Tuesday. But you know, that's what we do. And you know what I want to do is I want to introduce somebody. Oh, it's on the phone right now. Okay. Well, we'll talk a little bit later about that. But anyhow, folks, let's get busy with what we're going to talk about today. The title of the show today is "We Can Only Move Forward by Removing the Chains from Our Minds." Democratic Socialism is not a bad word. And boy, did I get that title wrong in my on the top of my thing, but I'm going to fix that later on. But anyhow, folks, the subtitle of the show is "Americans Have Been Indoctrinated into Believing That Anything with the Word Socialism is Bad. They've allowed shallow and misleading narratives to color their perceptions. It is time to abandon the slave ship, folks. It is time to get rid of the slave ship. Leave the slave ship. We got to leave the slave ship. Slavery is no longer a color thing. It is a lot deeper, brothers and sisters. It's a lot deeper. I've got a cold, so if I have to run off and cough a little bit, you know why, but I know you guys can deal with that. But anyhow, let's get busy. I write about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, and others who support democratic socialism, if not in name, in policy. And you know why I said not in name, in policy? Elizabeth Warren, who supports just about everything Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez supports, came out and said she thought she had to come out on TV and say, I am a capitalist. But of course, she's a capitalist that believes in all these things that Sanders and Cortez believe in. But I've always told folks, capitalism with a hell of a lot of regulation doesn't look all that different from democratic socialism. But I'm going to get there later. Unfortunately, it is hard to have a sensible debate because the plutocracy, with the use of their marching orders from the narrative created by the Powell Manifesto, has indoctrinated the masses. To change this country, we must release the chains. We must un-enslave ourselves, and that is what I intend to be a part of, the unabashedly unafraid purveyor of truth, even as the verbal spears are thrown. But before we get to the show, or before I get to the program, I want to remind all our listeners that KPFT is a bastion of intelligent voices and programs. As a political activist myself, my favorites are Think Wing Radio with
Mike Honig, On Mondays at 3 now.
And now we have Open Journal with
Dwayne Bradley and the crew. And that's Mondays at 6 p.m.
And we can't forget Jazz Latino, Afro-Cuban Latin Jazz at its very best, hosted by
Juan
my buddy
Flores on Tuesday from noon to 2.
Absolutely. And then there is Jenner Asian Radio, one of my favorite music shows, a weekly radio program featuring an eclectic mix of Asian underground, Bagra, Bollywood funk, indie, Rai, where ancient sounds meet future beats. And that is when again?
That's actually after this show.
Amazing.
4 to 6.
And you know who is one of the protagonists of the show?
Oh, that's me right
that's
here.
That's the voice that you're hearing, right? You see that other radio voice that you're hearing there? That guy that you hear sometimes on those commercials?
Oh,
the guy who know what's going on around here? Right, Nabu?
That's right.
There you go. And then, of course, we have Really But Not Really, a hip-hop and R&B parody show on
Wednesday at 10 p.m., hosted by Rosemont and Marcel.
And then, of course, there's Border Radio,
featuring Susan Darrow, and that's going to be at 4 p.m. on Thursday.
And then we have Black on Both Sides, a public affairs program where the effort to highlight politics and public affairs in line with our individual and collective worldviews, and that is
Friday from noon to 2 p.m., and that's on the HD2 side.
Absolutely. So, folks, check out our full schedule at kpft.org, where you can find programming from music to the eclectic to politics to medicine to the eclectic. KPFT is a listener-supported public community radio station. So please, 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 please remember that if you love what you hear, go to kpft.org. In fact, before I go to the blog of the week, while I cough, why don't you just go to kpft.org and give us a few bits? Because I tell you what, we want to keep this station alive so that we can give you programs like you're going to hear right now. Today is a very important program, folks. So listen up. If you're just coming, listen up. It's a very important program, my brothers and sisters. So please, if you have friends, tell them, hey, listen to KPFT right now. Whether if you go to kpft.org to stream it or listen on air 90.1 FM, or you can go ahead, of course, and go to that program. What is the program, that app that we use again? TuneIn.
That's
right.
right.
You can go to the TuneIn app, but today is an important program. So call your friends. Tell them this is a liberation program, okay? Anyhow, so please remember that if you like what you hear, go to kpft.org and keep us alive and ensure we remain a strong, viable community radio station that provides news, programming, and information not influenced by whom?
The corporatocracy.
You hear that right. That is right. What are your thoughts? We want to hear from you. Folks, this is a call-in show. The telephone number is 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. This show is yours, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts, whether you agree, disagree, or not, because you know what else? You get a platform here. I don't care what you think. I don't care what your thoughts, your ideology, or whatever. You get a platform here because this is your station. These are your shows, and we get a chance to exchange ideas. That's what I want. So please, 713-526-5738. But folks, do you know what time it is?
It's time for the weekly blog post.
I just had one of my major cough attacks, but that's okay. We're going to keep this baby going. Remove the title of the blog of the week is as follows. Remove the chains, open the mind, and explore democratic socialism. It may surprise you. For all those Democrats that are listening to me and all those Republicans that are listening to me that just got into a panic. Venezuela, Cuba, oh my God, listen to what they're saying. That was designed to scare you. Just like the immigration crisis was designed to scare you. Just like everything else in this country was designed to have you fear others, to fear the unknown, fear these things. You know why? Because if you're scared, if you're fearful, you won't go to those people that are really enslaving you. You won't go to the corporations that are really enslaving you. You won't buck the corporations that are really enslaving you. I really want you to listen to the blog of the week and the narrative that I'm going to give after all. Because it's not anything that you won't really easily understand. You will. Because it's practical and it is sensible. I just hope my coughing holds up long enough so that we can go ahead and do that. So one cough. That said, thank you. All right, here's the blog of the week. Title, Remove the Chains. Remove the chains from your minds. Open the mind and explore democratic socialism. It may surprise you. I have been very excited about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She is young. She is vibrant. She is exciting. Most importantly, she is wise beyond her years. While the right wing, Republicans and centrist Democrats seem to have her in their crosshairs, seeking to make every faux pas a critical failure, I revere her wisdom that stands beyond her 29 years. You see, her win was not an aberration. Her win was calculated. Her win was orchestrated. She campaigned using the democratic socialism message and won. That she won on the democratic socialism message should surprise no one. In fact, anyone who campaigns on that message, irrespective of U.S. districts, of any U.S. district's ideology, would likely win if done correctly. This is not conjecture, people, at all. You see, most Americans stand for these values. Every poll done on the wants and needs of Americans prove it. Let me digress and stop from the blog of the week for a second. If you look at all the subsequent elections that we've had since 2012 or whatever, all the progressive policies that went on ballots, whether it be marijuana, whether it be minimum wage, whether it be all these types of progressive issues, the things that make up the tenets of democratic socialism, people all voted for them, many times in red districts, in uncompromisingly large numbers. So the people are there already. What's different? What's different is that the plutocracy spins in such a manner to scare you. You know what you want and you voted for it. But then they start, when it comes to picking people who are going to make the changes, they come and they say, oh, she's a socialist. Okay, America gets into a freezy panic. We can't vote for that socialist. Well, suddenly, little by little, these democratic socialists are getting elected because these are the ones who've been able to show their constituencies, hey, this is nothing to fear. This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about getting rid of free enterprise. We're not talking about getting rid of democracy. We believe in democracy. In fact, the capitalist state that we have today is anti-democratic. Completely anti-democratic. Completely. But we'll go into that later on. In fact, I wrote a book called As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. And when I explained patents and when I explained all these issues, it was absolutely clear that capitalism is anti-democratic. That farmer could have been sued because somebody owned a patent for something that he grew. Folks, you're being fooled. You're being asked to be scared from something you should never be scared of because we're looking for an egalitarian society that really would work. And it ain't Cuba, it ain't Venezuela. But I have something to talk about Cuba and Venezuela as well, but we'll talk about that later. To win on the message is easy. To win after the message is defined as democratic socialism is next to impossible today in most districts. I want to repeat that because I want you guys to see that I'm not wearing colored glasses here. I know the truth. To win on the message is very easy. To win after the message is defined as democratic socialism is next to impossible in districts most of today. A Harris County, Texas blogger recently castigated me for being a Democrat and promoting democratic socialism by name, even as he agreed with all the fundamental tenets. Americans hate the word socialism, he shouted, putting the word democratic in front of it won't change anything. They think Cuba and Venezuela. To which I say, that's interesting. Before the CIA and all these other folks got into Venezuela, when Hugo Chavez was trying to democratize the oil that belonged to every Venezuelan, when he was creating Los Estados Unidos de Colombia, when he was trying to create that great South American state, Bolivia, I mean not Colombia, Bolivia, Boliviano, when he was trying to do that, he was loaning money to Argentina, Brazil, and all these other places because he was awash in petrodollars, right? And he was making the natural resources that Venezuela is awash in. Venezuela is a rich, rich country. When they talk about corruption, keeping it down, it's a plutocracy. And I have a lot of Venezuelan friends that hate me right now. They just hate me right now because they were sort of on the top in Venezuela. And when they came to the United States, they escaped what they felt was an attack on their way of life. What a lot of my Venezuelan friends had not seen is that their lifestyle was at the expense of others because of something that is happening in America right now. Remember that 80% of Americans are a paycheck away from the poorhouse. 80% of Americans are a paycheck away from the poorhouse. We are turning into Venezuela and nobody's telling you, and it is capitalism that is turning us into Venezuela. They're not telling you that. They are not telling you that. They want to blame everything else, but we'll continue with that. And when it comes to Cuba, as much as we have tried to kill Cuba, some of the best medicine that we have right now comes out of a people who were placed under hardship, mostly because we decided that unless they had a strong capitalist society, we were going to put our heels around their necks. But we'll talk about that later. And I'm sure other folks would call in and make a mention of a few things, I hope. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Whether you agree with me or not, I would love to hear from you. Unfortunately, that blogger is correct. But he is correct because, like most Democrats and progressives, he is either too lazy, too timid, or have too little faith in Americans. I don't. I believe Americans are smart. Many of us are ill-informed, but we're smart. I believe in doing the work necessary to deprogram Americans from the tenets of the Powell Manifesto, which was designed to have them remain indentured servants to the corporations. I am willing to do the work necessary to help Americans empower themselves by first giving them the truth personalized to their situations. I interviewed Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez at Netroots 2017 in Atlanta, Georgia. I found her to be engaging, but most importantly, she knew the needs of Americans. Unlike most politicians, she knew how to express the solution to their needs with policies she was able to articulate in a language not only that they understood, but that they believed was possible. I want to repeat that paragraph again. I interviewed Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez at Netroots Nation 2017 in Atlanta, Georgia. I found her to be engaging, but most importantly, she knew the needs of Americans. Unlike most politicians, she knew how to express the solution to their needs with policies she was able to articulate in a language not only that they understood, but that they believed was possible. In other words, Americans, as long as they believe there's a solution, they will go with you. Now, if they think you're full of it or just pulling at straws, forget it. After the interview, and before anyone believed she could win the whole thing, the phone's ringing, before she believed she could win the whole thing, I told her I would be calling her Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She looked at me bright-eyed, smiling, and just said, "Thank you," excitedly. I have it on video for posterity. I knew this woman was going to win that district. I knew she was going to win. What we need are fearless progressives who will not cower to the onslaught of those influenced by the plutocracy. but it must be the grassroots supporting and giving spine and financial support to these politicians willing to create an economy that works for you and not you bending to support some economy that rewards a few. The question is, are you ready? The question is, are you ready? Telephone number, folks. I'm ready to take calls. 713-526-5738. We only have one caller on the line right now, so you have a whole bunch of lines that you can call into, and you'll get to me. Again, that is 713-526-5738. I know this is a new hour, new day, new everything. So I want to hear from you guys. 713-526-5738. One more time before I go to MOD. 713-526-5738. MOD, you're hot.
I'm ready.
Talk to me. You're ready? I'm glad to hear you're ready. Talk to me.
That was inspiring, Alberto.
Talk to me.
Okay. Okay. So a little fact checking here. I went and spent a couple hours the other day on, and I went through Blaze Media, which is local to Boston. I went to LowHUD, which is USA Today. I also went to Boston.com.
Mm-hmm.
So these are like, I guess, Associated Press
Right.
in the area up north. And so the real name is Sandy. When AOC, before she enrolled in college, her first name is Sandy. She changed it before college. And then I went and looked at where she lived. She grew up not in the Bronx. She grew up in Westchester County, which is the wealthiest town in New York. The average home income is over $1.2 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me just go through the list real quick, and then we'll discuss if it's okay. So her website, Brand New Congress, was spouted from this guy who runs what's called Justice Democrats. Zach Bagor, you ever heard of the Young Turks?
Oh, I met all of them. Remember, I go to Netroots every year, and I speak to the guys at Young Turks. I actually know them.
Right. So what I want to do is just give you a little background of the social platform that you just mentioned.
Yes.
And how and where those social platforms were created.
Mm-hmm.
So the Brand New Congress, which was spun up from the guy, his name is I can't pronounce it all out, but he's basically the same guy who created Justice Democrats.
Right.
And through that theater or that community that you just mentioned that you're part of.
Yes.
The same guy that pretty much got them to interview and start that caucus over the stumping through that social forum is the guy who basically funded and created Young Turks. Is the same guy that owns Media Matters.
Right.
And you know who that is, right?
Of course, the guy that worked for Hillary Clinton for some time, yes.
No. George Soros owns Media Matters.
No, but what I'm saying is the guy who actually goes ahead and put out the director or whatever, he actually was a right-winger who became a lefty and because he used to attack Hillary Clinton, and then he became a supporter. But go ahead.
Right. So that's the guy that basically created what's called media consorption.
Right. Go ahead.
Right. So those three areas, you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, so those three social forums are owned by Soros.
Okay.
And so I listened to her, interviewed. I want to do my own analysis. I don't want to take anybody's opinion on anything here. And what I got was, when she was actually tapped by, what's his name? Anderson, or the guy at CNN, I can't remember his name.
That's okay.
What's the guy's name? Anderson Cooper?
Yes. But try to tell me what you're trying to get.
What I'm trying to do is I'm building information that's not from the regular information, but actual factual information.
Mm-hmm.
And when I hear that said, that well, what about social values? And the first thing she spit out was 70%, and that was her answer, what she understands about social programs and such.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to give you my opinion.
Okay.
I sense and I see a boatload, high energy. But cognitively and interviewing, I see low IQ.
Mm.
That's my opinion. What I assess.
Sure.
Roberto. She's not from the Bronx.
Right.
She's from a very wealthy family. Her father's very wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the wealthiest part of town of upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
Her social paradigm, the community that you're talking about, is funded by someone who funds Black Lives Matters and other narratives. So, is that fair to say? It seems like she might not be all that sincere profile that we see on the news.
Well, actually,
about her,
let me just tell you that most of what you said is actually false. But I mean,
really?
I have to.
I got the media here.
MOD,
paper.
let me finish. Okay.
False.
Notice
I
make sure that I get you to say what you want to say because I've done my investigation, of course, and you know.
Saying the local papers are wrong?
No. Let me finish. Okay. So I mean, you can build a narrative however you want to build a narrative, and you can create. Some people try to build a narrative. The other day, somebody tried to build a narrative around me that I couldn't be doing this work that I did based on where I lived. Okay, so I mean, there's a whole lot of narratives that are built that way. Then you brought in another narrative as talking about her IQ and that sort of thing.
No, that was opinion, but
I understand. I understand that, my dear friend. I understand that. But what I'm saying is. By you coming across and saying that about, let's say, her, right? And I'm not here to defend any politician. I'm just here to defend policy, period, nothing else. I don't care about the persons or the personalities. I care about policies that they're putting out there. So where all those people are going to try to run and figure out if she's sincere or not, the truth of the matter, MODs, I don't care if she's sincere as long as those are the policies she supports.
Okay.
So I'm not done. MOD, I made you talk a long time, MOD, so give me a chance to respond, sir, please.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Now, I don't give a rat's you-know-what about what anybody finds about this woman at all. I spoke to her myself. I asked her questions in real time.
As you mentioned.
She responded to me in real time. And I can tell you, based on her responses and her quick thinking, and I can tell you that it wasn't that this is no low IQ woman. This is a smart woman. And secondly, whether she's rich, poor, or not, I don't care because the policies that she's putting out there and the intonations and the narrative that she's taking with those policies are what I want to hear and what is necessary for me to convince the body populace that these are the things that we need to get done. Now, when you come out with all these other issues about her, that's fine.
Not issues. I'm just giving you a profile that's
and that's what I'm saying. When you come out with that profile, that is fine if you want to concentrate on that.
No,
I won't.
No,
I am simply concentrating on policy, nothing else.
Okay, so we don't want, what we do is we take a baseline
yes.
reporting. We do a baseline network reporting so we can understand not at that split second what is captured is the overall picture. No, we take a baseline reporting to build an intellectual opinion analysis. So I'm building an analysis on all of them. As you know, I'm across the spectrum. I'm not one party or not.
And that's fine.
But I'll leave you with, or I'd like to say this at least. When I saw another interview, I wanted to follow up on when she was questioned about the $22 trillion missing from the Department of Defense, the Pentagon, to basically use it for appropriation for health care or welfare reform, health care reform. And I think that's wonderful. But when asked, what does she mean by that, there was no answer. And what I'm saying, the result of that inquiry of something that's real was discredited. It's like throwing the baby out the bathwater. Here's something that's real, that has been studied and proven, and it's not $400 hammers or toilet seats. It's collusion at the highest level form of our government, that complacentness and the money going out the door fraudulently. And we can go through that also if you want to, but it's fact. And have someone to be the messenger of something that's very, very serious that will not have an answer except, well, I don't know. And it discredits the narrative.
It discredits the narrative for those people who want to make this woman an accountant and everything.
Who wants to basically discredit?
Let me tell you something. Okay, there's a lot. Then I'll be discredited in a lot of issues as well because I cover so much material in which I just know it superficially, but I know that because of the data that I have, it is correct. I don't need to know the details about it because I'm not going. As an activist, I don't know everything in detail. There are certain things I know in detail. There are other things that I base on trust on the information that I have. But if I needed to go write a blog in detail, I would. If you're going to judge Alexandria Ocasio, let me finish. Wait, hold on. If you're going to judge Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on those issues, then judge me as well. But I'm going to tell you something, my dear brother MOD, and I am serious about this. And I want you to, I'm not going to, you don't have to, I don't want you to answer this, in fact. I just want you to sleep on this, okay? You, like many other people that I've seen, are judging Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez by a completely different standard than males are judged, and I'm not going to give you a chance to answer that. My brother, you'll come back another time and talk to me. So we'll talk a lot of time. Yes, sir.
Berto,
yes.
You have the cognitive know-it-all to respond.
Yes.
And then you do throw so much out there. You're right to that point, but in this case, I have to question.
Yes.
If you're going to throw out something as blaringly
yes.
important as $22 million trillion,
no.
if it's appropriated. Listen,
MOD, I got to go to another call. But I know where MOD. You know, right, you're my friend. We'll talk another time, MOD. We'll talk. Okay, Johnny, line 2. Come on in, Johnny.
I'm counting and trying to maintain my cool.
You be cool, brother.
3, 2,
got it. You're
1.
smooth. There you go.
Numbers don't lie.
Right.
Republicans do.
Yes.
And that is the thing that we have to keep in mind
right.
when we counter the Republican/oligarchic BS narrative that's been from day one against socialism.
Right.
They frame it as an ism, something to fear.
Right.
But once you break down the numbers, guess what? All the fear and BS gets peeled away.
Yes.
An example. Here's a number Republicans can't dispute, including that fast-talking blonde, that skinny blonde. What's her name at the White House?
I know
Conway.
who you mean. Yes, Conway.
Yeah, Kellyanne Conjob. I would love for her to explain 99,000 Americans. 99,000 Americans in Flint, Michigan don't lie. Poisoned water in Flint, Michigan, and several hundred other cities. That's not the result of Bernie's socialism. Socialism didn't do that. That was the result of austerity. Republican Party austerity, allowed and encouraged by the Wild West unfettered type of capitalism with a K that we practice in this country.
Yes.
If they want to fear something, fear all the BS and the result of that. And teachers on strike because they can't afford to give their kids the basics.
Yes.
Why? Because the people who own this country, who own the money, they spin the narrative. Be afraid of those guys and then hate them and defeat them. Don't be attacking Ocasio-Cortez. She's the good guy. And mainstream Dems, are you still with me?
I'm with you.
And mainstream Dems like Hillary Clinton, they're the hedge fund bunnies. They're smooth talkers, but trust me, they speak with a forked tongue, MOD.
Look, you're absolutely correct, Johnny. And what I want, I'm hoping that we have people that come in. We have some double somehow.
I keep hearing.
Okay, we lost the caller. Call back for the caller that we just lost. I'm sorry for that. This is not you, Johnny.
Hang up unless you've got a question for me.
Yeah, Johnny. I want to take some other calls, but your point is taken. And
remember, numbers don't lie. Republicans do.
Exactly. Wait, correct that, Johnny. I want you to correct that. Republicans and blue dogs lie. Thank you, my brother.
Oh yeah. Well, of course, the hedge fund bunnies like Hillary Clinton. Watch out. They're one
All
and
right,
the
brother.
same.
Have a good one. Okay, let's go to Linia. Let's go to line number 3. Brad, come on in, Brad.
Hey, Berta, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Talk to me, my dear brother.
No, I mean.
Oh, wow. Oh, man, we just lost a whole lot of stuff. Let me tell you, all those people that just got dropped, let me first give a mea culpa. We have a new person in our studios right now. So if you have a drop call, just call us back. We're getting some kinks worked out. But, we are just humans. So give us a call back. I want to talk to all of you. Brad, I just dropped.
Egberto,
Talk
I'm
to
going
me.
to try to stay on topic.
Yes, sir.
For a minute, at least.
Yes.
So you're talking about labels today.
Yes.
That we should embrace the Democratic Socialist label.
Yes.
If we are such.
Yes.
And not shy away from it.
Absolutely.
Now, KPFT has like one of the morning shows. I forget the guy's name, but he always has Congressman.
You're talking about Tom Hartman.
Yeah, he always has Congressman Poe something.
No,
Poe
Nay, Congressman Nay, Bill Nay.
No, starts with a P. Pota.
Oh,
Anyways.
Pocon. Yeah, I know who you mean. The guy from, I think he's from Wisconsin.
Yeah. So that question came up one time when he was handling a Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
And, someone was saying, why are we still calling ourselves progressive? Why can't we just call ourselves Democratic Socialists? And,
right.
He hedged and basically he said, well, we got to be in sheep's clothing,
Right.
Why? But see, that alienates people.
Yes, it does. I'm glad you said that, Chris.
Why be deceitful?
Chris, you are right. And you notice in the blog of the week what I said? Because we're lazy, we're timid, we don't have faith in the intelligence of the American people, and we don't want to go out there and do the work. The plutocracy through the Powell Manifesto has lied to the American people. I can show, mathematically speaking, why democratic socialism works. From a mathematical standpoint, I can tell you math is absolute. I can prove that. Here's the deal. You are so correct. It is hypocritical, and I was a hypocrite. Egberto Willies was a hypocrite because I thought I needed to go ahead and constantly say, cater it because Americans won't understand. That was my bad. So you're correct, Chris. Continue.
Well, it's always been a pet peeve of mine whenever liberal, quote unquote, the label, got a stink to it.
Right.
And everyone said, let's rebrand to progressive.
Right.
I've been calling myself a progressive since I was like 12.
Right.
I read about the progressive era, and that was always irritating to me. It is duplicitous.
Right.
Accept what you are, be what you are, be proud of you are, and assert it.
Right.
Don't be wormy about it.
Absolutely.
Also,
hey guys, we're still hold on, Brad. Chris, hold on a second. Chris, hold on a second, folks. We're still having some phone problems, so if we drop you, I plead forgiveness and just ask you to call again, okay? Because again, we're still getting some stuff squared away with the phone system. Okay, continue, please, Chris.
So the crucial issue on the Democratic Socialism label is differentiating it from the bad socialism and the good socialism. We want to say, we're more like Sweden in our approach.
Okay, yeah.
Market-based, I guess feeding off of a market economy to feed social programs.
Right.
I guess would be the
Well, I mean, what I try to preach when I talk about democratic socialism is I talk about it really being the only real democracy. And the other thing I talk about it does nothing to eliminate free enterprise, which is something capitalism does. And I wrote a book called As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. And in that book, I proved pretty much that what capitalism has done to free enterprise. You just ask the farmer who plants his own seeds that was genetically infected by his next door neighbor who purchased seeds from Monsanto.
Yeah,
I rest my case.
Power clots like
Right.
blood, and it accumulates at the top.
Right.
In capitalism, you got to break up the blood clot, or the organism of the economy will die.
Exactly. Chris, I got to go to another call, but look, I really appreciate you listening.
I wrote a haiku about Johnny's poetry. Can I read it on air?
Oh, sure. Please do real quickly.
Oh, no. It's too insulting. I don't want to set.
Oh, you can't insult my friend Johnny now. That's my buddy. Come on now.
I'll refrain.
Okay, my brother. You have a great one, and thanks for listening. Chris, thanks for calling, and you stay listening on Tuesdays now. Okay, brother?
Thank you.
Take care. Have a wonderful day. Okay, let's go to, I'm going to go to Brad, number 1. Come on in, Brad. Sorry that we had that mistake. And folks, go ahead, folks, and call back. Those of you that we dropped, please call back. We're trying to get the kinks out. Go ahead, Brad.
All right, ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I also like Andrea Ocasio-Cortez, okay?
Yes.
I like her because she's so hot.
Wow.
Okay?
That is
she's
very
pretty for a
sexist.
politician. You got to admit that. Almost as good looking as me. But let me ask you, here's something.
Yes.
You democratic socialists, you just can't help it. You don't want to compare yourselves to Venezuela and Cuba.
No, we
become
don't.
An apologist.
No.
You said that Cuba has all these doctors, right? And all
Yes.
these medical and
Yes,
all these
sir.
medical advancements. You said
Yes.
something like that, right?
Yes, I did.
So why are the doctors wanting to be taxi cab drivers?
Well,
And
because
yes,
they
they
make
do.
more money.
They do because they
No,
have
no, you're
capitalism
right.
when it comes to the taxi
Brother,
cab.
you're right. Look, you see, here's the thing. I don't have to, for me to say, a lot of times when people try to defend their positions, right, they think they have to defend it by making everything in the thing that they're defending perfect. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to just tell you things the way they are. And the fact of the matter is, you are absolutely correct when you say that that a lot of doctors are driving those taxis, because when they go to Havana, and I was in Havana in December, not this December, last December, I was in Havana, and I can tell you there was a doctor driving, there are all kind of professional engineers driving taxi cabs because they make more money. That is how crazy capitalism is. Let me give an example. This taxi cab driver was an engineer, and he made in a day what he makes in an entire month as an engineer in Cuba. Okay? And here's the deal. He's driving a cab that requires no necessary skills or anything like that because of the type of economy that capitalism drives. Remember, Cuba has in Havana, where the ships come in, that part of the economy is capitalism. Of course, they tax the whole hell out of it, but that part of the economy is capitalism. So here you got a professional engineer, and a driver makes more. So that's what he does. What I'm trying to tell you is you have to have a reconfiguration of an economy so that we judge people by their worth, the effort that they put into what they do. And I'm saying we don't even do that in America. Those teachers on strike in Los Angeles right now, they are so important to society. But a stockbroker moves a few pieces of paper, make $1 million, and these teachers are begging for peanuts. It's a false economy bait that wasn't written for reality. It was written to empower a few. And what do you do for a living, my dear friend? Give me just an example. What do you do for a living?
I'm a dog walker and a pet sitter.
You're a dog walker and a pet sitter. Well, I mean, I don't want to. I thought you were going to tell me something else, because I thought you were going to tell me something, so I can't make the argument that I wanted to make. But whatever the case is, how can you possibly then support the type of economy that we have?
Because I do okay for myself, and I have freedom. That's what capitalism gives me. It's freedom.
It's not capitalism that giving you your freedom. You could have.
It's giving me freedom. My job, I don't have to work.
Brad,
I work what I want to do.
Brad, stop for one second. Brother.
If I want to work hard, I work hard. If I want to be lazy, I'll be lazy. I have the right to do that.
I love what you just said. Let me ask you something, Brad. I don't know your name, so I don't think saying this is anything. Do you have health insurance?
No.
You don't
I choose not to. We talked about this before. You know,
Okay,
I
but
like
Brad,
to eat healthy food. I'm not fat.
Could you let me make my argument, my dear brother?
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Here's the deal. Look, you see, I love you so much, right, that I want to have an economy where you can do whatever you want. You see how you like to walk dogs, and you like to house sit, and you like to do all of that?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good thing. I don't think because that kind of employment does not afford you the wherewithal to pay $500 a month for health insurance that you should do without. I don't. I think I think you are an integral part of society. You allow lawyers and doctors who want to have dogs to be able to still have that love, while somebody like you
and oil executives, don't forget them.
I know that, brother. That's what I'm telling you. You allow them to be able to do those things, right? You have a value to society. But because of what you make, there are certain things that should be a right that you don't have. And what I'm telling you is I want the society where you have the freedom to do what you're doing, but at the same time, because your healthcare wages or your healthcare cost is indexed to what you make, that you still have the same kind of care that I'll have. Healthcare is a right.
Because I'm not against Medicare for all.
Thank you.
But here's the thing. Where in our society did jobs were supposed to pay health insurance? I mean, what about your life insurance? Does your company pay for that? Does your company pay for your auto insurance?
No,
I wish
Brother,
work
I
for a
am
company
with
that pays
you.
for my
Hey, look.
liability insurance,
Hey.
okay, for my automobile.
I am
Why
with-
health insurance?
I am
Why
with
that
you.
one? Of
I
all
am-
insurances, why that one?
Because it was done by the unions and all that kind of stuff when they were negotiating, not paying people wages. Look, there are all these things have historical values or why they're that way. Not because they came up for wrong reasons mean we should keep them. And what I'm saying is we need to break them up and not have these things anymore. And you know what, Brad? I think with you listening to me more often and realizing that we're not really all that far apart, you'd look at me eventually and say, you know what, Egberto, I'm a democratic socialist. I know you're not going to say it right now, but eventually you will. Brad,
Yeah, real quick, Beto O'Rourke or Julian Castro, who do you vote for?
Neither one.
Huh?
Neither one. I want at least Elizabeth Warren or better. Okay?
Okay, I mean, have you thought about it? I don't know if you've had enough time to think about it
Yes,
since
I
you've
have.
been planning all those
No,
money trees
no.
to pay for, the health care that we're going to get.
No, let me tell you, Beto O'Rourke, I think, has become a whole lot more progressive as he campaigned around Texas. Beto O'Rourke became much more progressive, and I'm very impressed with that. But I think Beto O'Rourke need to earn some more progressive bona fides. But I gotta go, Brad. I love talking to you because you're a good guy. All right, brother?
All right, bro. You take care.
You
Bye-bye.
take care, brother. All right, let's go to Scott. Scott, it's going to have to be a little quicker now because I'm starting to fill it up. Come on,
Thank you.
Scott.
Would you believe that in 2008, I would not know there was a recession if I had not read about it in the media?
Well, that means you were doing fairly well. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you know why.
Why?
Social Security.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that is a good name for it. In Mexico, Seguro Social means medical insurance.
In Panama, we have it, Seguro Social. Exactly.
Yeah. So, similar idea. But back in my Republican days, I did read an article by Peter F. Drucker, and he said that New Deal programs like Social Security stabilize the economy.
He's correct.
Yeah. And my grandmother once remarked that back at one time, depressions were called panics.
Right.
The trouble in 1929, I'm sure, was a panic. There were people who had to start supporting their elders, lost their jobs, and children had to support them. And
Scott,
there was
right.
a lot of independency that people hadn't interdependency that people hadn't anticipated.
Scott, actually, that's true. Keynesian economics is that thing that says when the capitalist system freezes up, Keynesian economics throws a whole bunch of cash into fluidity into the market, pumps it back up, and then the same thing repeats itself. What I'm talking about is there's nothing that says we have to go through those cycles. Okay, we go through those cycles because we have capitalism is a flawed economy. Period. I can deconstruct capitalism perfectly to show you that it's a flawed system, and all the reason it survives is that it has the Powell Manifesto and all those people who have orchestrated a lie and a fear into people that supports the policy. We can actually go from capitalism to a real democracy, democratic economy without disruption, as we transition to it. But to do that, we have to have politicians that are willing to do it in a smooth transitional form. I got to go to another call.
But
Scott.
I don't know that capitalism is such a dirty word.
It is a dirty word.
Is it capitalism? Pee Wee Herman was arrested in a private business because of something that was agreeable to his fellow customers.
Right.
Is that capitalism or is that socialism?
That is actually not what we're talking about.
Government regulation.
I know where you're going. I really know where you're going, Scott. I know where you're going, but
I think you're rather enchanted with more government, and I am if it's done for certain purposes. But there are other
believe it or not,
that I
believe
do
it or
not
not,
want government
I agree with
doing.
you.
In fact,
Scott,
I think I'm really more concerned about what my government can do to me than what my country can do for me.
Scott, you know something? Believe it or not, you won't understand this right away, but I actually agree with you with the Pee Wee Herman thing as well.
Yeah.
Remember, regulations are just that, individual things that people write. I am talking about economics. You're talking about social issues. And what I'm talking about is not mutually exclusive with what you're saying. You are absolutely correct, my friend. Pee Wee Herman in a private institution could do whatever the hell he wants to do.
Yep.
But so I'm with you. They are not mutually exclusive, sir. And that is where you need to hear what I'm saying going forward. So we'll talk about that later. And thank you so kindly for calling.
I did get a cost of living increase this year.
All right.
Probably a few $100s.
No problem. A year.
Annually.
Yeah.
Gotta
go,
50
Scott.
a month.
Scott, I gotta go. But look here, you keep listening and you keep calling, brother. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Okay, line number 6, Kathleen. Come on in, Kathleen.
Hi, Egberto.
Hey, Kathleen, how you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I am doing great. Talk to me, my friend.
Oh, great show today, and some great calls and some great insights from you as usual.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, and this is kind of unrelated, but what I felt was important to bring to your attention and to that of your listeners is that Flint, Michigan still doesn't have clean water.
There you go.
And I'm wondering in what universe this is not a human rights violation.
It is.
And why? It's been 5 years?
Yes. Yes.
Why is this happening in an advanced country with so much wealth in it? Why?
Unfortunately,
we're a third world country. We have people down south with no sewers.
Yes.
I mean, how is this okay? In what universe is this okay? These are human rights. I've been disgusted with the oligarchs for a while, but I find it morally reprehensible that one of these multi-billionaire asshats doesn't fund a public works project, donate money to the Treasury, have Congress appropriate it, and fix the freaking problem. It's not rocket science. It's called human dignity. It's called morality. It's called ethics. What is wrong with these people? Why do they have so much money if they're not going to do anything good for humanity with it? What kind of moral bankrupt person allows their fellow human beings to suffer in their own damn country?
Kathleen, you are absolutely right. And that, remember something that I always preach. Capitalism has no values, and if capitalism, if the heads of corporations are the ones who control government, then government will reflect what they are. And you have described exactly what they are. So when our previous caller, my good friend Scott, says he fears the government he fears should be the corporate government. He should not fear the social government, which means we the people. Thank you so kindly, Kathleen. I got to run to another call because I got 3 more to take care of in this.
All right, thanks, Egberto.
Thank you. You have a wonderful day, Kathleen.
You too.
All right. Okay, let's go to Ray. Ray, I'm going to have to be quick with you. Come on in, Ray, number 2. Come on in.
Yeah, I know you got to be quick. So, you covered a lot of topics. But
yes.
The idea of healthcare is to keep us bound to the capitalists of business.
Right.
And it shouldn't be.
Right.
It should be, if you can find the money to go build a wall, which, I don't care either side of that story, and you can find the money to pay to have health care for all the citizens. The money is there like it is for the war machine and everything else.
Let me tell you something interesting, Ray, and then I'm going to have to let you go to get some more. But here's the deal, Ray. They did a study, and the study was done by a conservative institution that says it's going to cost a hell of a lot more for Medicare for all. But here's the funny thing about it. And that costs, even though it costs less, it insured everybody. And of course, the other side, the other capitalist form, did not leave. It left over 50 million people uninsured. Doesn't that tell you where the ethics lie?
Yeah, we know it. I mean, it's in your face, but here's the last part of it, and then I'll be glad to let you go.
Yes, sir.
They keep putting messages out there, they being the system that's in place that supports this, And then we buy it without doing any analysis, any self-thought on it. Wait a minute, this don't make any sense.
Right.
No, we keep spitting the rhetoric then to make it a reality, so to speak. But if you peel back the layers, it's not a fall-through thing.
And
it's definitely a myth.
Ray?
So we buy the myth and try to make them reality at that point. We end up supporting that system
Right.
that's destroying us.
Ray, and that's why we are here, and thank you so kindly for being a part of us. Okay, my brother?
Okay, thank you.
You have a wonderful day. Okay, let's go to Matt. Matt, I got to be, you got 1 minute, Mac.
Okay, yeah, interesting. All of this is addressed in Robert McCloskey's and John Nichols' People Get Ready, where the heads of these major corporations and stuff like that will get together and determine that, the people will piece whatever they have to do. If they don't have a job, they'll drive an Uber or, rent their house out or an Airbnb, and they'll get by, because they just really don't believe that the people are really suffering the way they are.
Right.
I just recently got back from Cuba in December, and I spent some time there, and I'm going back at the end of the month. Let me tell you what I discovered.
Real quick.
There's no people that are overweight. I didn't see any beggars. Of course, there's no Starbucks or any of that stuff. But
right.
People are engaged. I didn't see people sitting at restaurants with their cell phones, glued to their cell phones. And when people get sick over there, then you don't just go to the hospital. They have, if you have diabetes, they have a whole hospital for diabetes.
Hey, Matt, I got to let you go, but thank you so kindly. And you're absolutely right. Listen to what Matt said. Matt, please call me back next week and we'll talk longer, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Andrew, you're the last call. Come on in real quick, Andrew.
Hey, Berto, how you doing?
Talk to me, my brother.
Well, I just wanted to, kind of talk to you a little bit about something that I've been
30 seconds. Go ahead.
talking
Start.
about my students. So I'm a teacher, right? I'm a teacher. I teach social studies. I teach government, and as a millennial, it's difficult sometimes to do all that, because talking about politics and being entrenched in it as we are today can be kind of disheartening sometimes. But teaching these kids, man, I got to tell you, it's really the future is bright.
Yes.
And at the risk of sounding like a Hallmark card, I do want to say that, because the kids, they're even in the more affluent parts of the city of Houston where I work, the students are open and engaging in democratic socialist ideals, and it's really cool to see that at
Andrew,
anywhere from freshmen to seniors.
I am so happy you said that, because I am just releasing a tape today with a woman that I interviewed, a young lady. I think she's 18 years old. Her name is Tien Yuen, and I'm releasing that tape today where she says why it is that they are currently activists, and she specified exactly what you said. They are into it because they're tired of being taken. So thank you so kindly, Andrew. I got to let you go to close this show down, but you have a wonderful day. Okay, brother?
Thanks, you too,
Thank
Alberto.
you.
I'll see you later.
Okay, folks, this is Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, and we're going to have to cut no music for my end exit today. So, without any further ado, I'm going to say it. I am out.
Thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willis. You can personally reach me by sending an email to egberto@politicsdoneright.com. Remember, Egberto is spelled E-G-B-E-R-T-O. Change starts with you. 90.1 KPFT gives you information not tainted by corporate interest. Please visit kpft.org and contribute. Let's ensure continued access to real information and news remain available to all. Again, thank you very much for listening to Politics Done Right.